Nous sommes guerriers pour l'évangile.
L'évangile au nom de Jésus-Christ, nous conquérons.
Quelle que soit la nécessité,
Nous conquérons. Au nom de Jésus-Christ, nous conquérons.
quelles que soient les épreuves,
Nous conquérons. Au nom de Jésus-Christ, nous conquérons.
quelle que soit la nécessité,
Nous conquérons. Au nom de Jésus-Christ, nous conquérons.
soldats pour l'évangile.
L'évangile au nom de Jésus, nous conquérons.
Nous sommes guerriers pour l'évangile.
L'évangile au nom de Jésus, nous conquérons.
Nous sommes vaillants pour l'évangile.
L'évangile au nom de Jésus, nous conquérons.
Sexualité des prêtres. En Italie, l'enquête d'un journaliste dénonce la loi du silence autour des liaisons qu'entretiennent les prêtres avec des hommes.
Voici l'ultre napolitain par qui le scandale arrive. Une double vie avec un prostitué de luxe, des soirées de sexe et de cocaïne, financées par les offrandes des fidèles, et filmées ici en secret par Francesco Mangiacapra. Il vient de publier ses souvenirs et révèle s'être spécialisé pour cette clientèle toute particulière.
Sono stato con decine di preti.
J'ai eu des rapports sexuels avec des dizaines de prêtres. Beaucoup parmi eux se présentaient comme tels, venaient parfois en soutane. D'autres ne me révélaient leur statut que plus tard. Tous m'ont payé des centaines d'euros à chaque fois, dans le but d'acheter ma parole, de garantir mon silence.
In modo garantita la loro privacy.
Cette double vie serait pratiquée au sein même de la curie romaine, le gouvernement qui entoure le pape. C'est en tout cas ce qu'affirme un ancien prêtre, secrétaire d'un grand cardinal. Devenu laïc, Francesco Lepore nous raconte ses années passées au secrétariat d'État, un des lieux les plus secrets au monde.
Ce que j'ai remarqué, c'est que de très nombreux responsables de la curie avaient des doubles vies. Il y a celui qui a un petit ami, celui qui préfère avoir une vie homosexuelle beaucoup plus libérée, en participant à des orgies gays ou en allant dans des boîtes pour homosexuels.
À quelques mètres du Vatican, un prêtre en exercice prend le risque de briser le tabou. Selon lui, tout commencerait lors de la formation des prêtres. Il ironise sur ce col blanc pourtant symbole de vœux de chasteté.
Il y avait ces amitiés que l'on appelait des amitiés particulières, qui étaient une certaine forme d'homosexualité. Cela existe dès le séminaire, parce que dans ce monde exclusivement masculin, on n'a pas d'alternative. Et il n'est possible de s'adresser qu'à une personne du même sexe.
Longtemps, le Vatican a tenu des propos outranciers contre les homosexuels. À l'image de l'ancien numéro 2 de l'Église catholique, le cardinal Bertone, qui liait homosexualité et pédophilie. Une vision des choses à laquelle n'adhère pas le pape François.
Si une personne est gay, qu'elle cherche le Seigneur et qu'elle est de bonne volonté, qui suis-je pour juger?
La vie cachée des prêtres ne concerne pas que l'homosexualité. Les cas de religieux qui vivent en couple avec des femmes ou qui ont des enfants sont également nombreux.
On September 4th through the 23rd, 2016, a major event will occur in the Old City of Jerusalem. It will bring together actors, artists, musicians, and persons in the media from around the world. What on earth are they planning to do in Jerusalem? At an event that ends on September 23rd, leaders from Roman Catholic, Muslim, and Jewish communities will gather for one of the longest interfaith services in history, right there in the Old City of Jerusalem, right there where the Lord Jesus walked, right there where the temples once stood. They will offer worship to a God under the banner of ecumenism. It is there they plan to do away with categories of religion and ignore differences. The service will combine 3 monotheistic faiths under one roof in a house of worship for all believers. One part of the event will occur from September 5th through the 11th and will bring together Jew, Muslim, and Christian under, quote, a passion for Jerusalem, in which they can all coexist temporarily under the wings of the Almighty, unquote. Some of the headlines on the website for this event talk about dissolving boundaries and coming together in worship of the same God. Another part of the event will occur from September 12th through the 23rd. The leaders of this event, which is called Makudeshet, will perform an 11-day consecration. If you aren't aware, a consecration happens when somebody performs a ceremony declaring something as holy. The fact that Muslims, Jews, and Roman Catholics are gathering for a consecration means that they are all declaring their interfaith religion, their new God, to be holy. This is not good and may signal the beginning of the one world religion that Pope Francis has worked so hard to achieve in the year 2016. The Vatican, indeed, is one of the chief proponents of the ecumenical movement around the world and in Israel. For the past 3 years, Pope Francis has worked tirelessly toward a new world religion in which all denominations are brought together as one. If you look at Francis's outreach over the past 3 years, and specifically in 2016, you'll find somebody who has openly condemned evangelical Christianity and the belief that you must have a personal relationship with Jesus. He has openly warned that this belief is dangerous. He has also equated the spread of the gospel under evangelical Christianity to jihadism. In the meantime, he has done quite a bit of outreach to every other religion in the entire world. Why is this happening? The extent of Francis's outreach to other denominations in 2016 alone has been mind-boggling. In February, Francis held an emergency meeting with Patriarch Kirill of Russia for the first time since the 1054 Schism. Kirill then went directly to Antarctica, where he performed a bizarre religious ceremony consecrating the land and water surrounding the continent. Francis has also done outreach to Patriarch Bartholomew of Turkey, in which both leaders voiced support for the migrant crisis and called for more migrants to enter Europe. In May, Francis met with Al-Azhar of Egypt, who is the head of Sunni Islam. In January, Francis became the third pontiff ever to visit Rome's major synagogue. He has also hosted Jewish religious and political leaders at the Vatican. In June, Francis outreached to the Armenians. In July, Pope Francis visited Poland and told all of the young people in the audience to, quote, believe in a new humanity. In August, Pope Francis won a huge initiative with U.S. Lutherans. A document called the Declaration of the Way was passed by a majority of 931 to 9. It recognizes that there is no longer church-dividing issues between Lutherans and Roman Catholics. This means that 3.7 million U.S. Lutherans are now absorbed into the new world religion. Also in July, Francis was the driving force behind a ceremony in the United States called Together, organized to bring all Christians in front of a 6,660-inch obelisk, or the phallus of Osiris, for worship. One of the major symbols we saw at Together 2016 was the Ouroboros, which is the serpent eating its own tail. The earliest legend of the Ouroboros has to do with the coming of Osiris, the god of the underworld. The Ouroboros is a highly occult symbol signifying the end of an eon, or the end of time. In occultism, the end of one eon usually results in a reset, brought about by some cataclysmic event. When used together, the obelisk and the Ouroboros show us the coming of Osiris to inhabit his temple at the beginning of the next eon, which is the start of the Golden Age. The fact that this symbol was put on display throughout Francis's Together 2016 event is very demonic. What is Francis doing, and why is he doing it? The answer is that he's merely carrying out a role, playing his part in the creation of a new world religion. In previous videos, I have discussed a book written in 1908 by a man who was ill for much of his life. He writes about how a character named Father Francis defects from Roman Catholicism to follow the Antichrist. In this book, Father Francis would become the leading proponent of the new world religion and worship of the Antichrist. Just recently, Francis has used death of one of his priests in France and an assault on another priest in Belgium to invite Muslims into Christian cathedrals and churches for worship. For the past month, throughout Europe, since the attacks on the Catholic clergy, there has been a major drive by Francis to bring together Muslim and Christian, and his efforts are working. He isn't attempting to evangelize these Muslims and to convert them. Instead, he is allowing them to bring worship of Allah into the churches in Europe. It has been prophesied that a religion of the New World Order would be established. It would dissolve boundaries between faiths. All would come together, united, in worship of the false light. There are Luciferians in history who predicted that Christianity and all religions would eventually collapse, making way for the religion of pure Luciferianism. A couple of these individuals was Luciferian and 33rd degree Grand Wizard Albert Pike, as well as Luciferian Helena Blavatsky. She viewed Christianity as a major challenge to the agenda of unveiling a new world religion. Christianity, in her opinion, would have to be done away with in order to unveil the new religion. We also have warnings from a former Jesuit who was murdered in 1999 that a one-world religion was in the making. It was an ecumenical religion that was being set up for all to follow. Malachi Martin told us a secret in an interview with Art Bell before he died. Luciferians had infiltrated the Vatican and were planning to set up a new religion, one they believed would last for 1,000 years.
Amongst Luciferian organizations, there is a prophecy that if they can invade the citadel, and that's their name for the Vatican, they will have power for 1,000 years.
How close are they?
Very close.
You might remember when Francis came to America last September, we saw a major push toward the full ecumenical agenda. Francis's itinerary started on September 23rd, 2015, one day after he landed in the United States. He had set his sight on finalizing what his predecessor, Pope John XXIII, had set into motion on September 23rd, 1959. It was on this day John would offer a prayer that would begin the downfall of the Roman Catholic Church. A document would be penned declaring a new outreach to all religions in the world as children of the same God. Without a doubt, Vatican II is remembered as Catholicism's greatest push toward the new world religion. Vatican II would change everything about the actions of all future popes. It was now about piecing together a new religion, one that would be ready, waiting for the coming of the capstone. Pope Francis is truly preparing that new faith right now for all in the world to become a part of.
Je suis venu dans ce monde pour donner la vue à ceux qui ne peuvent pas voir. Et aussi pour ôter la vue à ceux qui peuvent voir.
Ai-je bien compris ta pensée? Selon toi, nous qui sommes des justes sommes aveugles.
Flammas eius, Lucifer matutinus inveniat. Ille in quam Lucifer qui nescito casum, Christus filius tuus, qui regressus ab inferis, humano generis serenus iluxit, et tecum vivit et regnat in saecula saeculorum.
Si vous étiez aveugle, alors vous seriez purs et sans péché. Mais tant que vous dites « nous voyons », votre péché demeure.
Dieu voit les fruits de nos labeurs. Et si parfois nos efforts, notre travail semble échouer et ne pas porter fruit, nous devons nous souvenir que nous sommes les disciples de Jésus et que sa vie, humainement parlant, s'est achevée dans l'échec. L'échec de la croix. L'échec de la croix.
Malheur à vous, scribes et pharisiens, hypocrites que vous êtes, parce que vous fermez aux hommes le royaume des cieux. Vous n'y entrez pas vous-même, et vous n'y laissez pas entrer ceux qui le désirent.
Volta capita di sentire qualcuno dire io credo in Dio, credo in Gesù, ma la Chiesa non mi interessa. Quante volte abbiamo sentito questo? Questo non va. C'è chi ritiene di poter avere un rapporto personale, diretto, immediato con Gesù Cristo, al di fuori della comunione e della meditazione della Chiesa. Sono tentazioni pericolose. Sono tentazioni pericolose.
Conducteurs aveugles! Vous coulez un insecte et vous avalez un chameau! Vous vous pliez devant la lettre de la loi et vous trahissez le cœur de la loi! Justice, miséricorde, fidélité. Vous ressemblez à des sépulcres blanchis qui paraissent beaux au dehors, mais qui au dedans sont pleins d'ossements, de morts et de toutes espèces d'impuretés. Vous voyez ces pierres? Eh bien, je vous le dis en vérité, il ne restera pas ici pierre sur pierre qui ne soit renversée. Votre maison sera laissée triste et déserte. Elle sera le domaine des lézards et des araignées. Serpents, race de vipères, comment échapperez-vous au châtiment de la géhenne?